The sun was sinking behind the old rusted gas station on the edge of town when the rumble of engines filled the air. It was a late summer evening, and the highway shimmered with heat. A small group of bikers, leather jackets, steel boots and tattoos that told stories of hard lives and broken roads, had pulled over for a smoke and a break from the long ride ahead. They looked rough, intimidating to anyone who didn't know them. But beneath the tough exterior was a brotherhood of men who had all come from pain, from pasts they rarely spoke of, and who carried scars, both visible and buried deep within. And then out of nowhere came the sound that silenced even the loudest bike engine, a scream. It was the cry of a child, sharp and desperate, slicing through the thick evening air like a plea to heaven itself. From across the cracked parking lot, a little girl, no more than 7, came running barefoot, her cheeks streaked with tears, her tiny hands trembling as she stumbled toward the bikers. She was gasping for breath, her voice shaking as she cried out words that made every man in that group freeze in place. "They're beating my mama." Before we dive deeper into this story, if you believe that kindness still has the power to change the world, that second chances can save lives, and that there's good even in unexpected hearts, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might need a little hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Dailies for more stories that remind us what humanity truly means. The bikers exchanged stunned glances. Their leader, a tall, grizzled man everyone called Bear, stepped forward. His rough beard and cold eyes didn't show fear often, but at that moment, something inside him cracked. He knelt to the girl's level, asking where she'd come from, but she couldn't even form the words, just pointed down a dirt road leading into a cluster of rundown trailers half hidden by overgrown weeds. Without hesitation, Bear and his men revved their bikes and followed the little girl, the engines roaring like thunder across the quiet fields. The girl's name was Lily. Her small legs could barely keep up as she led them toward her home, a faded trailer at the end of a narrow dirt lane. As they got closer, the bikers could hear the shouts, the slamming of something hard, the unmistakable sounds of violence. Bear motioned to his crew to cut the engines, and they approached silently. What they saw through the window froze them in place. Inside, a woman, bruised, bleeding, and terrified, was being shoved against a counter by a man twice her size. He reeked of alcohol and rage. Bear didn't think twice. He burst through the flimsy door with a force that made it crash against the wall, and the others followed. The man inside swung around in shock, but he didn't get far. Within seconds, Bear's crew had him pinned to the floor. The woman collapsed in the corner, sobbing, clutching her ribs. Lily ran straight to her mother, wrapping her tiny arms around her waist, crying so hard her body shook. The room was filled with the sound of heartbreak, relief, and fear all mixed together. When the police arrived, called by one of the bikers who had stayed outside, they found the man restrained, the mother shaken but safe, and the bikers standing guard like silent sentinels. The officers knew Bear's group. They'd seen them around town, sometimes assumed the worst, but this time, they saw something else entirely. They saw men who had risked their own safety to protect a stranger. As the ambulance took the mother and daughter away, Lily turned back to the bikers. She didn't say a word. She just looked up at them with those wide, tear-streaked eyes and whispered, "Thank you." That single word hit them harder than any roar of the road ever could. Bear couldn't shake the image of that child, the terror in her voice when she had come running to them. That night when the group camped by the highway, none of them spoke much. The fire crackled and the night sky stretched endlessly above. Finally, Bear said quietly, "We ride tough, but maybe this is what we're supposed to be doing, protecting the ones nobody else will." The others nodded silently, each man lost in his thoughts, remembering their own pasts, the mothers they'd failed, the children they'd lost, the homes they'd left behind. Over the following weeks, the bikers didn't just move on. They went back. They visited Lily and her mother, whose name was Sarah. She was recovering slowly, her bruises fatting, her spirit still fragile. The system had failed her more than once, restraining orders ignored, shelters full, promises broken. Bear and his crew helped fix the broken windows of her trailer, brought groceries, even helped her get her car running again. They didn't expect thanks. They didn't post it online. They just showed up, because sometimes the loudest acts of kindness come from the quietest intentions. Sarah had never trusted men easily. Her husband had stripped her of that faith long ago, but there was something different about these bikers. They didn't pity her. They didn't talk about saving her. They just helped. And in that simple, steady kindness, something inside her began to heal. Weeks turned to months, and one summer evening, Sarah and Lily stood by the road as Bear's crew prepared to ride out again. The little girl handed Bear a small, hand-drawn card. It was covered in crayon hearts and stick figures, her mom, and the bikers all smiling. On the top, she had written in shaky letters, "My heroes." Bear held that card for a long moment before tucking it into his jacket pocket. The men rode off down the highway, their engines echoing against the hills, carrying not just the weight of the road, but something far heavier and far more meaningful. The story of the biker angels, as locals began calling them, spread quietly through town. People who once crossed the street to avoid them now waved as they passed. They became known not for trouble, but for protection, for showing up when someone needed help the most. Months later, Bear received a letter in the mail. It was from Sarah. She wrote that she and Lily had moved to a new home far away from the memories that haunted them. She was working again, Lily was in school, and both were safe. But at the bottom of the letter, in small, careful handwriting, Lily had added one more line. "When I grow up, I want to help people too, just like you." Bear folded the letter slowly, his eyes glistening in the dim light of his garage. He placed it next to the crayon card that never left his bike's saddlebag. To the world, he was a rough man, a biker with scars, a past, a temper. But to one little girl, he had been the miracle that arrived on roaring engines one desperate summer night. Because sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they wear leather jackets, ride motorcycles, and show up when all hope seems lost. And sometimes, the people we fear the most are the ones sent to save us. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness can come from the most unexpected places, please take a moment to like this video. Share it so more people can see the beauty of humanity. And subscribe to KindnessTales for more stories that remind us of the good still left in this world. Sparkle's special request to all our viewers. Comment below with one word that describes how this story made you feel. Was it hope, faith, courage, or something else entirely? Your words inspire more stories like this.